1984, a novel by George Orwell. George Orwell was a pseudonym of Eric Arthur Blair, was born in India in a middle-class family, 1903. He went to private school in England and then he decided to work as a policeman in Burma. In 1927, he returned to Europe and he decided to experience firsthand the life with the poorest people because he wanted to describe their condition in a realistic way. He wrote for this reason Down and Out in Paris and London about the period he spent with the poor people. He became a passionate supporter of socialist ideas, and his politics are strongly represented in everything that he wrote. Here you can see the uh, page of one of his important work, Homage to Catalonia, and it is connected to his experience in Spain. He went there as a reporter to describe the Spanish Civil War. He joined forces against General Franco's fascist rebellion. Then he worked as a reporter also during the Second World War, and he started writing Animal Farm in 1943, which brought him great celebrity throughout the world. And then he started writing his masterpiece 1984 in 1948-49, and then he died 1 year later. 1984 is a dystopic novel telling the story of the protagonist, Winston Smith, who lives in an imaginary future where the party watches and controls the actions and the thoughts of all citizens. So, control and repression are two of the most important central themes in this novel. Winston Smith lives in London, which is part of Airstrip 1. The world is divided into three big areas: Eurasia, Eastasia, and Oceania. Um, he lives in a very poor flat, and the things that break down are rarely repaired. Winston works for the Ministry of Truth. This is an ironic name, where he rewrites facts about history and politics to fit the needs of the party. Um, Another important topic here is the propaganda. The propaganda is used to brainwash its citizens and to prevent any criticism. But the protagonist is different from the other people. He doesn't conform to the reality of the party. So he hates the system and he wants to express his opinions and feelings. In Oceania, as we said, the party has the control of everyone with the help of four different things. The first one are telescreens, sort of devices which operate as television, security cameras, and microphone. They catch every information they can inside the room. So, and they also broadcast the message of the party. They couldn't be dimmed, so there is no possibility to switch them off. Posters with the face of the big brothers are everywhere, and it seems the eyes of the big brother in the poster seem following you when you move. So it is a sort of very important means of control. Everywhere you can see him, and there is also the famous captation: the big brother is watching you. Then there are helicopters. We can check what people do inside their flats from the outside. And the thought police, a very special police corps, whose aim is not only to check people's external behavior, but also what they think. People who do not conform to the ideas of the party are killed. They say they are vaporized, or they are, as it will happen to Winston, they will be tortured until fear prevents them from opposing the government. The party has a new language called Newspeak. This language has a very particular aim. It is designed to limit free thought and promote the party's doctrines. Um, its words include also double think, the belief in contradictory ideas simultaneously. If you watch at the slogan of the party, you can see that war is peace is a contradictory sentence. Freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. The beginning of the novel starts with Winston, who is frustrated by depression and the control of the party. So he dislikes the party, and he tries to do something against it by buying, for example, a diary and starting writing history inside it. It is illegal. Then one day he notices a person, a co-worker, Julia. Um, but at the beginning he thinks that she is a sort of spy, an informant, but then they fall in love and they start a secret love affair. They rent a room in a place and they meet. One day, Winston receives a message from a very powerful member of the party, O'Brien. Winston believes that O'Brien is a member of the Brotherhood, a group that works against the party. They meet, and O'Brien, who of course is a spy of the system, confirms to Winston and Julian that he hates the party. So he indoctrinates Winston and Julia into the Brotherhood and gives him a copy of Emanuel Goldstein's book, The Manifesto of the Brotherhood. Goldstein is the enemy number one of the society, but this is a trap. And a day in which Julia and Winston meet to have sex, soldiers arrive and take them to prison. Winston is separated from Julia and taken to the Ministry of Love. Then he discovers everything, that O'Brien is a spy, and O'Brien tortures Winston, brainwashing him. He tries to resist, but then in the end he is brought to room 101. Room 101 was very famous because it is the place where people were forced to confront the worst fear. And from Winston had always had nightmares about rats. So as you can see in the picture on your right, Winston is given a sort of terrible torture. There is a cage full of rats which is strapped onto his head, and the rats are ready to eat his face. Of course, Winston cannot resist, and he tells O'Brien to do the same torture to Julia, not to him. At this moment, he is broken. His will is broken, and he is released. And that now he has accepted the party. He conforms to the reality of the party. He doesn't love Julia anymore. In this novel, we can point out some very important themes. For example, the first one is about power. The novel, written by Orwell in 1948, so after World War II, it explains how the government can become very powerful and how it can destroy individual freedom. He says that there will always be social classes, and it is human nature for humans to exert power over weaker people. Another very important theme here is the language, which is manipulated, and it is a way for the government to maintain and to strengthen the power. The Big Brother uses the language to plant new ideas in people's mind, and of course to erase the old ones. Of course, Orwell is really interested in this, and he also invented a new language called Newspeak for his book. With a new language, you can rewrite history, because the party wanted to erase the memory of different events in the past by planting new events. Historical documentation is really important, said Orwell, because if you forget the past history, then past history ceases to exist. At the Ministry of Truth, Winston worked on rewriting history so that people can remain ignorant and the party is always right. Liberty. Liberty is the final thought here in the novel, because 1984 is about the balance between personal liberty and social order, and everything revolves around this warning, the warning of what could happen under a government that takes more and more responsibility for social order upon itself. It is a criticism against all the totalitarian systems of his recent past, and we can focus on the Nazism with Hitler, the fascism in Italy with Mussolini, and Stalinism in Russia. So it is a warning against what could happen if we forget the historical events of the past.